Hi, good afternoon. I'm Dr. Shamile, also known as the original Love Doctor. So if you're married and miserable, single and horny, dated and damaged, or engaged and eager, then let me help you rewrite your love story after infidelity. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to Hee Ha.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, we get to go.
Okay, yeah, the only podcast that you're glad to be born, girl, and again taught out a horn. Hee haw.
Be glad to be one and then taught out the horn.
Yeah.
This is
That's-
what we,
that's-
that's what we come through.
Yeah, you're that doctorate and horn and got this.
I miss the memo.
Yeah.
I miss the memo. To be honest, I really miss the memo. Welcome again, guys.
Good stuff. I need something. Let me get my pen and pad.
Episode 53.
53. We
All
are
right,
in
cool.
new season.
So-
as you can see, we in the cave.
Energy. All right, cool. All right.
Yeah.
So we have a special guest this evening. As you can see, she's the only person on the panel, the only guest that we have.
Let us say Diaz. That's the word.
Yeah, that's yes. So, welcome. All right. And we have, I like to call her the Love Doctor. You okay?
You said the original.
The original. Who's the next Love Doctor then?
There's a Love Doctor in New York.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't matter.
it's not love doctors before that on the radio. You know, like you never see what chocolate thunder for the love doctor.
Well, I am the original Love Doctor.
Well, I don't know if that person was qualified, but I just know it was like a guy. He was on the radio, and he called himself as
We Trinidad and Tobago?
no, like a DJ, like
True.
and he used to play like
Love
that?
songs.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. And calling, I wanna send a song to my man in Rikers, New York radio.
That's wild. That Rikers stuff, though.
Well, I'm not sure, Rikers. You know Rikers, right? Yeah, you're supposed to know
Everybody
Rikers.
knows Rikers.
I do.
You know Attica? I don't. Right. So, we talk this evening, we're going to talk about, we head into the conversation about horning. Plain talk bad manners, right? What is horning about? Like, everybody, every last Trinidad, you know from the baby who born yesterday in the hospital that he mightn't be his father's son, right? So, that's just the culture that we've been told. That's our culture. All right. Just coming from a origination point of view, what get you into this whole horning thing? Like,
Because it started from my parents. My parents'
Usually.
marriage ended because of infidelity. My
On whose side?
grandparents' marriage ended because of infidelity. And even as a child at 6 years old, when I thought my parents were living well, is when I discovered they weren't, and they were separated because there was a child involved. And same thing happened with my grandparents. And from there, I tried to find methods, to help my parents at 6 years old. And obviously, during that stage of my life, we didn't really have much help, much therapists. And if we did, they were so few that it was hard. So I always said that when I get older, I would decide to study family and life therapy. I didn't. I was a runner. Let me put that right there.
as in,
for like Pablo Escobar, like that kind of run. Oh, you talking about track?
Track.
Track, yes, track.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a runner, but I grew up in extreme poverty. So my parents couldn't afford to send me to a club, like, all those.
What event? What your event was? Like your mean, like you say.
Was it
your-
discipline?
Yeah.
Long distance.
all right,
Yeah.
all right.
That's 16 to 200. All right.
Yeah. So because of that, so they used to call me Thunder Thighs because I could have well run. And when I put on a jeans, it was all over.
I don't know.
Trust me.
Yeah, I'm stupid. I'm stupid. I'm stupid. Shut up.
Clarify.
I'm stupid. I don't know what that means. Could you clarify, please?
Oh God, I don't think we need to.
No, you brought it up. I honestly just want to know verification. What are we
To
talking
the
about?
listeners right now, we wanted to be clear. Right?
Doctor,
Because
to be clear.
people listening,
Dr.
right?
Thunder Thighs.
What does
Yeah.
Dr. Thunder Thighs?
I used to look real good in a jeans. Let me just put it there, right?
Okay.
This is 90s when jeans now.
Yeah,
Crop
that
tops,
was
crop
a
tops
long
and
time
jeans.
ago.
Maybe when Jean Pierre used to be and Tom waving on I just played.
Yeah.
Jeans.
But I mean, after we realized, obviously, my parents couldn't afford to send me, away to study and stuff to further my career. I decided that, I need to choose another direction. I just started to work at a really good job, corporate. I wouldn't call it company, really good job, corporate. And every employee used to come to me for advice
About
about love. Until one day, one of my coworkers said, "You're the love doctor, you know."
That's so she coined it too.
Yes. And I said, "The who?" She said, "The love doctor, because the entire lunchtime period, you sitting giving everyone advice." And I was like, and I smiled, yeah.
At the point in time, you was already married, or it's just
No.
and there was just let me just go to.
Yeah. But
Thunder. I was going to say go to Thunder.
you was gonna say that. I was still trying to
I was going to. I mean, she fit in them jeans. She must know what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, and she called me the love doctor. And then when I wrote my first book, the person that edited the book said, "You're the original love doctor."
Hold on. You didn't tell me she had a book.
Of course she has a book. That's why she's a love doctor.
Okay, whoever brought you on this show should tell me that I have already read the material. As once you read a book, write a book, I have to read it before you come on the show.
I mean,
Oh gosh.
I want to say voracious reader, but I'm not. But I would have read it so I could have.
right. So,
Point out the
and she said her first book. That means there's
boxes.
more.
Boxes.
Yes. I wrote 4 books. So she called me the original love doctor, and from there I started to deal with general topics like you know, that we spoke about earlier. And then I started to deal with couples who were challenged by infidelity.
Right.
And or as we call it, you get horn in Trinidad.
Yeah.
And I could see the pain, and there was no help. I mean, we have groups for everything, support groups, but there is no support group for people who have experienced infidelity. And a lot of times we don't know the effect, the traumatic effect of infidelity and what it does to a person.
Yeah.
And I experienced infidelity. My husband and I were together like 23 years. However, prior to that, the person I was going to get married to, I found out 1 week before his wedding that he was getting married, that we were together a year and a half. So that was my first experience.
Yes, no, you're going to smile and think. But I just had to give props up to the soul there. You're doing it the old school way, which is you just get the call, you see that girl we had done.
Well, he didn't even do that.
No, that's what's basic. He almost got the Vietnam, because you know what the Vietnam is, right?
No.
The Vietnam is, we get drafted to war on quotations. So we see me and he going to war and me and you together. Wow. And it's just like, and you're playing hard to get in, getting through. So I come and it's just like, here's you see now, girl. Let me get married. When I come back from war, I'll marry you. Meanwhile, I just jam and I go to the next town. You never, the Vietnam, that was like a staple in US.
No.
You get drafted.
Yeah, you get drafted.
Okay.
And then the next shot is I will always like you were just outside food the entire time now. That's
Okay.
a thing.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm young enough, I old enough to know about that. Like,
Wow.
Yeah.
No, well, I didn't get it that way, unfortunately. I was passing in front of his bachelor party. And that's how I found out that he was getting married.
nah, I can't say she was stalking the guy because I had no GPS and thing.
No, back in those days,
So
he
it just
barely had
happened.
cell phone.
It just
Yeah.
happened.
He was staying, he wasn't living in the same area as I would. However, he was staying by his cousins. So they kept a bachelor party for him.
just
And while
passing
I'm passing, I said, well, what's that going on? Nobody tell me the lineman, It's when I walk in and, that's when I found out.
You have horrible friends. You have horrible friends.
I mean, I think it was culture back in the days and everybody with everybody, so it don't matter anyway.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that you get to go in. Because I know men just do the exact same. There's like, bro, somebody else supposed to be by the door.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
But I think they weren't expecting me to, because when the last time we spoke, I told them, well, I home, I just,
And that's landline.
And then I decided, to walk up the road and, I found out he's getting married. I mean, it was hard. It was an investment a year and a half, but I still went the wedding. And no.
Why? Why?
I think I needed closure. I needed closure. I needed closure. Because could you imagine you planning a wedding with someone and a week before they get married to someone they were in a relationship with for 5 years?
Well, I can imagine it. But
That's how we met. That's how we met.
Yeah. But
She don't like to talk about it, but basically, yeah, she know the timing. Anyway,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
let's be honest. All right,
Yeah.
babe? Let's be honest.
Alright. So
Yeah.
that's your first boat story. That the one that make you feel like you're ready to quit it. This love thing. Because that's the tobacco that Trinidadians be talking about.
Yeah. I mean, that was one. I get one plenty times.
Wow.
I mean, yeah. So I think that was really the trigger. It was And what infidelity does is it affects your self-esteem. So you find that at a certain point in my life, I start questioning, but why is everybody unfaithful? What is wrong with me? And I didn't realize.
What reason I give you when I told the last time? The last time, what reason I told you?
When that phone pelt, right?
No, here that's
Right?
not
When the
getting
phone pelt, and I get hit. This podcast might mash up, you know. So
I told you we'll be on the show today. I brought you today so we could like talk to the love doctor and
I
work
don't
out
want
our
that domestic
problem.
violence
And
thing.
work out our
I'm a show
problem.
big the boss.
Well, you didn't want to work it out. You don't want to work it out. Well, fine. Back to you, man.
Yes. Yeah. So I thought I was the problem. And that's why I decided to study family and life therapy, because I found that something had to be wrong with me. Because every woman in my family is ending their marriages, ending in divorce. Or all the male figures, they married 2 and 3 times.
Yeah.
I said something is wrong with me. I don't want no man. I'm done. That's it for me and men. And then I met my husband. So yeah, he kind of changed. I told him from the get-go, listen, we're not getting married. I don't mind. We could chill, we could lie, how much ever years you want, but marriage is off the table.
You're not in that.
But homeboy waited.
Okay. I mean, that's a thing of the past, I could say, to you know, a man who could actually...
Keep waiting, baby. It coming. I had your remote. Your remote.
Right? So...
Yeah.
You see, when I'm trying to talk about this kind of sensitive topic, you go on a song so insensitive to really be like, haha, you should have no red flags.
Yeah.
Because when the person deep in it, they will never be able to see it, you know? It's like...
It's like being on the beach, you know, it have the red flag on the shore, but when you're in the water, you don't see the red flag.
Sense of direction.
You just get pulled out to the course.
But my question to you now, in your professional, you know, capacity, the infidelity aspect, where men and women feel it's okay to continuously just jam like bonobos, right? When I say bonobos, that's a sex of chimpanzee, sex among ape. Right, that is just basically they are about love. Species of ape,
I got you.
Right, that basically about having multiple orgasms and it's just sex, right? But that's what keeps their community together. We, however, can't really be like that because the paternity issue tends to be like at the forefront of men's mind, and like the lack of resources that is being sacrificed for our next woman is at the forefront of women's mind. Right. So I think that's the 2 basic fears that is kind of like make infidelity seem like a harsh reality that we had to face. But this is a chicken and the egg scenario, right? Because my question to you is, in your studies, what have you found to be the root causes of infidelity?
All right, so let me say this. Infidelity is a fruit and not a root. A lot of times we think that infidelity is because the person, the evil and the wicked, and how you could do me that, but it's really just the fruit. At the root, it is like at the tip of the iceberg, it is you don't cook for me, you don't wash, I don't get sex, you're never there, I'm always lonely, you're not communicating, you're abusive. But at the root of it is rejection. Since I'm 5 years old, I'm being rejected by my parents, by my friends, by the people around me. So when I see rejection show up in my relationship, immediately I don't know how to cope. And because I don't have the right coping mechanism, you find that I digress instead and decide, let me seek an outside source so that they could help me feel better about myself. So infidelity is really just the leaves on the tree and the branches. It's not the root. So most times when you come to my office, you find that when we decide to do therapy, what I would tell them is, remember Dora, the explorer? No? The castle.
Diego.
Yes. So they used to go and explore. So that's what we do. We do exploration and investigation to see what is happening in your life that shifted you to behave the way you are behaving. And now your spouse get to recognize things from an educated point of view. Because when you come into the office, you come The betrayed partner is angry. They study it. Oh gosh, how you could do me that? A shame what my family would think. But the unfaithful partner is also experiencing stuff. They are going through, oh gosh, what is this? Everybody talking about me. Even though they may put up a front like, I don't do it. Who cares? They are still experiencing their own setbacks. So most times I say to them, let's start from the beginning. What happened that shaped you into this direction? And when we start exploring, that's where healing comes in. It is a rough ride. It's not an easy process. It's going to have a lot of tears, a lot of pain. But now your partner could see, wow, you weren't unfaithful because of what I did. That was just at the mountaintop. But you are unfaithful because daddy left. You are unfaithful because that's all I see my mom do. You are unfaithful because all the teachers in school said I would turn out to be nothing. So when we explore that option and we get healed from the root, we're able to deal with the infidelity, and now you could show up in a better way.
So, like, what we could consider some of the practices to embark on if you're trying to start a healing journey?
The very first thing you have to do is recognize what are the needs you need met and unmet. What are the things you need me to do to show up in a way that would make you and I comfortable? What boundaries we need to put in place? What accountability need to be set? A lot of times when we get into relationships, we're so in love and head over heels that we spend so much time talking about all the irrelevant stuff that we don't spend time asking the necessary questions. What are the things that happen in your life that is going to affect our life?
That's a real valid point. That's a strong point, because coming to think of it, when you're really acting, it's based on some past trauma that's making you react.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's like a conditioning thing.
Yeah.
So abandonment issues, these kind of things will make you react in a certain way. And it makes perfect sense. So what would you say to a woman now who is coming to you? Because I'm asking from a man's side and a woman's side. A woman coming to you and say, the original love doctor. I had to say that after your say podcast, right? Because that's how I'm going to call it out.
Okay.
So one of thunder.
Yeah, the thunder type love doctor. Right?
Oh, we call it. Oh.
Love doctor, yeah, we see. My husband have a child in some next place.
Yep.
And I don't know how to deal with it. I'm planning to leave. What would be, that's a generic thing I'm thinking about so far, right? Hypothetically speaking, what would you do, how to deal with this? Because next thing your man doesn't want to come to the whole scenario, into this whole scenario. What's the advice you get to a woman in that?
First thing, most times men don't want to do counseling. Because what it does for men is now you have to show me, and let me just stick a pin right here. Most of my clients are men who are hiding from their wives.
Good stuff.
That don't know they are in therapy.
Understood.
Right? Because sometimes women don't know how to deal with things. And instead of it comes across as a plus in the house, it would come out negatively.
Okay.
You go in therapy and you're getting worse. You're wasting our money there, and so many other things. So the first thing I would tell, it depends on how you look at things. When you start looking at things from a whole different lens, that's why I say, when you start looking at things from an educated point of view, my spouse didn't just do this to me because they want to. Though it's a choice or a decision, it's because they don't know how to show up in a different way. I don't know what healthy looks like. I had a client, anytime things get too perfect in their relationship or close to perfect, everything is running smoothly, he will find a way to sabotage it. Because he will be like, oh God, listen, this is too much for me, because he's accustomed to life being unstable. Everything in his life is always unstable. He grew up without his parents. He had to hustle on the block to make it. Everything was always unstable. So now he find a woman who is, that he can't handle it. He's like, oh my God, this is too much. Crazy. Exactly. So you find that instead of he do right by her, he started womanizing.
So what you would say to a woman in that scenario to help her understand where what actually is happening here, so as to not feel like it's an invalidation of her being?
Well, first we need to do the work on her, because let me tell you, infidelity is not an individual issue. It would be a couple issue.
Right.
Both of us played a role. Even though my role wasn't being unfaithful.
Okay, so
I knew it.
This is gonna sound like a controversial.
I knew it.
Because
I didn't warn you because of you. It's because of me.
Better you
Only because
explain.
of you.
No,
It's what-
no, no.
It's your fault.
That's
Yeah.
not what I
You
said.
did.
Yeah, because it
No.
can come across like that, eh?
Yeah. Both of us played a role. My role probably was I was unfaithful. And of course, I went outside of the relationship and that affected you. But your role was every time I reach home, you keep triggering me over and over and over. And it's like
You make me
getting
want
shot.
to again. No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is like okay, in a circumstance like somebody going through your phones or whatever, and like you want me.
Yes.
Till you point out, you know what? It's better just horny and done.
Exactly. Because maybe when you were small, your parents didn't trust you at all. So they were always taking away their devices.
Thanks.
So it shows up again in your relationship and you're like, no, I can't do this. Because you're reliving those triggers over and over and over. And it becomes unhealthy. And in order, I'm looking for an outlet. And most times he or she shows up as that outlet.
Right.
Okay. There's this show, how they reference some kind of book or thing. You have Netflix?
Yes.
Okay, good. This would be pertinent in your field because it's literally about these shows about adultery and then different ways in which people commit it. A show called Fishbowl Wives. You ever watch It's a Japanese show.
No.
Not sure if you like watching subtitles. That was not racist, Bussy. That subtitles.
I didn't say a word.
You're judging. But okay, so it have like 7 scenarios in which each wife end up cheating on their husband.
Right.
And it was like one was abuse, one was boredom, one was like I wish I had the whole list I could just rattle it off. And I
Right.
was like, I wonder if this is an authentic thing as the reasons that, at least on the women's side, because it was more focused about the experience the woman was going through. It didn't really focus on the men, except one of the husbands from one of the other women was sleeping with one of the other wives or whatever.
Yeah.
That was about the uni. But it was really like 7 different stories. Each episode was like a different reason why this chick wanted her husband. This chick wanted her husband because he mother too overbearing. This chick wanted her husband because he loads his work or something, so she stopped respecting him. This chick wanted him because I watched this like 2 years ago. Sorry.
Right.
But like
Yeah.
but so is it that those are actual valid reasons, or this was just a reason to commercialize or dramatize or romanticize actual issue?
But those things are actual issues. Yeah. Most movies, it's from real life scenarios, if you think about it. Things that people experience, they're right.
Because
Yeah.
and the reason why I mentioned the romanticizing stuff is because prior, like during the Puritan years, like, women were supposed to be chaste or XYZ, and they, the whole dress, that no leggings, whatever. That's when romanticism in literature came out, because it didn't have movies, it probably had plays where it was just like the prudish daughter who in the castle or whatever,
Romeo and Juliet.
and she had to sneak out
Yes.
and that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
I think is the romanticism contributes a lot to the adultery aspect. Or could I
False
be,
expectations.
in terms of, okay, he's just the garden boy, I'm the princess, and I with this mean prince or whatever,
King.
whatever.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, but he really sees me.
Yeah.
Or some kind of crap, and she
So
jumps
she compensating in her mind.
in her mind. And meanwhile, you can't actually have a life with the garden boy. This man is like one of the richest men in like the world. He can't provide that lifestyle you're accustomed to. But
Yeah.
because you're bored, you have time to, Shakespeare really did have a book like this. And I can really be Juliet in this story.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Juliet killed herself. So,
But you know that love is an addiction. There are people who are addicted to love.
I'm addicted to love. I think I'm addicted to love.
Really?
I think I'm addicted to love.
Hopeless.
I'm a hopeless. No, and I blame Hollywood because them Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan movies is like, I
Right.
want to run down a girl in the airport and be
Okay,
like,
yeah.
don't go on the plane. No.
Bodyguard
Yeah.
with Houston.
No, help.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
No,
What? I draw the line on
Kevin Costner?
Costner, take that bullet for yourself. Take that bullet for yourself.
Wait.
Right.
But I like growing up, I would have seen it so much times where no, she gonna leave and had to run, take the TT ride, she drive to Piaco. It's like, no, don't go. Because if you go, I love you. And then you love bomb the shit out of the
Right.
girl. And then it's like, Yeah, but we really wasn't going to work to begin with, you know. It's just,
But when that high is over, though, how do you feel? Because that part is important.
and here's the best part,
Self-loading.
because no, I wouldn't say self-loading. I
Right.
would say the highs end directly after.
Okay. Post not clarity.
Yes.
That's what you're trying to say.
And then it's like, I really wanted to do this.
Okay, all right. That is important, because if it didn't end there, because what has happened when people get bored of people who are addicted to love, when they get bored, there is no romance, there is no climbing up the stairs, as you say, and that type of thing. That is how infidelity happens, because they need that high.
All right.
So this brings me to the question.
Uh-huh.
Right? No. I am of the persuasion, all right, this is my opinion, that the metrics that men and women supposed to be looking at dealing with each other by, we need to be honest about what those metrics are. I think for men, the metric is honor. You need to be an honorable man, you know, and kind of explore what honor means as a man. However, I think a woman operating out of honor is like putting her in a disadvantageous situation. She needs to be a little virtuous, because I think it's the honor and the virtue that does make something happen.
Right.
What we're trying to tell women is that you could be honorable, you could take care of yourself, you could, right? And that putting them in that position. You're telling men now, you already have a place. Okay? So, when infidelity takes place in that regard, what I as a man start seeing among, I don't want to say that word,
Say the word.
the male community, right?
Sims. You want to say Sim?
Nah.
Sim, you know Sim? David? Or,
Yeah.
You and these terminologies.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
What? Sim, I didn't make that up. Hold on there.
Yeah, I know you didn't make it up, but I mean, how you didn't just bring it in now?
That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
All right. Toss that grenade.
I thought she was going to say it's come with it now, but then.
Nah, she knows she's
Smart. Right? But came out. So we get into the point of men talking about their experiences with infidelity versus women talking about their experience with
Right.
it. And it somehow appears to be a little bit more sinister. All right? And I could be wrong, because I didn't explore all the possibilities of infidelity. But it appears to be more sinister when a woman on a man versus when a man
I see the
on a woman.
I know that smile, what that means.
It tends
She
to...
gonna do this. She intended this straight move.
Yeah,
Man. She intended the eyes.
Yeah, she started smiling. But it's tend to come across as a little bit more vile in a sense, because of the just the nature of what relationships in a heterosexual way is traditionally about. You know?
We just basing this on the little sample size we have our
Yeah,
guests.
yeah,
Because before
yeah.
when we now started the show, it was mainly about the male-female experience and like the dating, that kind of stuff. Then we brought the pool to, we could bring on our love doctor, and she will bring her expert opinion. But then we could talk with an astronaut, we will find out if they have aliens. So right now we back to the love doctor. So when every single guy I know right now, I'm not sure what's the problem, but they hate being home for a fact. I've seen guys I know, they hate being home. They out and about in places of ill repute.
Say the word dog.
They in the ore houses.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
They loving these with the Spanai. That's a plural of Spanish, by
the
the way.
Spanai.
The Spanai. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like they're doing the most with like Spanish girls and like under 25, whatever. Then I'll be like, but bro, why does that go home? What's the problem? And then they just the boy, to be honest with you, I just want to break. Cool. But then on the flip side now, the sample size are basing it with the girls now, them honing and them doing it, like he said, in the most vile ways. I'm gonna let this next man inseminate me and this next fella and my man to eat it out. We got at least 3 people and like
And this is her confession, eh?
and she just talking now like and high fives and she yes I came back because I find out he holding me, so you know what, I gonna make him feel it. What, as opposed to fellas, boy, it's a relics when I go, you don't even know my brother, boy.
Dog,
It's like,
yeah,
she
you're
packed
right.
my clothes and threw it out.
Yeah.
I don't sleep on that couch. You came over here. And thing. And so them just literally as I escape. The next one doing it as I will make you feel it.
And the next thing in the male community too is where a man might horn his girl and he will be like real remorseful about it to his brethren. He's like, boy,
I ain't know about
I
that.
really didn't want to do that, you know, but she was available. And
Boy.
it was, men will understand that you did it because it's like something you need to get off.
I needed
As
to-
opposed to-
yeah. And she don't
doing
know
it.
what this next girl is do.
Yeah, yeah.
And this next girl is do
When
some
you
weird
make
shit.
it about the woman, then you hate a girl. If a virgin saying it, boy, my girl has harassed me, I go and fuck her next thing.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
That's her.
yeah.
That's how like, whoa dog, what happening?
Yeah.
You understand? But if it's more like he just end up in a moment and then he's like,
Dog, I gotta go through all this licks.
Yeah.
She right here. Is he seen? I turned right on you.
Yeah.
Whoop. What for? 400
Right.
because he had to pay the house 100.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. But we need to hear, you know, where in your experience with couples, it comes across as more vile, as I say. But how you tell a man now who get on to
Don't kill this woman.
Yeah,
and
because-
this man.
to accept that level of he is basically you were not enough. That's why I had to go there.
Yeah.
Look,
That's what you think, though.
That's why it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the symptom of infidelity. You feel like
Right.
if you're not enough.
Right.
But that is not
Keep-
the truth, though.
Just the buttress. Keep in mind, we now coming off of the generation of you dishonor me, pow, meet me with the pistols at dawn. Now we calling it murder. That same thing, now we calling. But prior to this, he was getting a glove to face. We was meeting at dawn.
Challenge
two
that
pistols.
gentleman's duel.
One and we had to go.
Yeah.
We get rid of that now and be like, you know what? Let me just have couples therapy instead.
Yeah.
And
well,
let me just, what we do as a recourse for what men is do outside of therapy to deal with the one. Other than
bounce
kill
back
yourself
from
and
the
kill,
bunker.
other than kill the next man and kill the girl and kill yourself. Because that's typically what going on.
street
Yeah,
violence.
that's how. I mean, for me, what I think when it comes to me and my practice is an investment. So when you come to me and I'm coming to kill anybody, after you spend a certain amount of dollars, you know that you're going to do the work. Because I don't have time to waste. Because I understand that you have to be at a mature state to understand infidelity.
Damn.
So
Yeah.
So would you advise that he sticks on with his partner after that?
Now, there are different types of infidelity. So it depends. If your partner is showing you that they are not, it's like you telling me, let's fix this. I want to get healed. I want to become whole. I want to change things. Because when infidelity happens, you have to rebuild. There is no starting from where you left off. You have to rebuild. That means we are starting over. There is no continuing the relationship. There's a new relationship that needs to be formed.
You see,
Yeah.
Doc.
Them girl can't like them girl and them don't let go that, you know.
That is the independence, you know.
That's the independent. They say, when you want me once, I
Yeah.
don't ever believe. And especially when you're telling the truth.
Yeah.
This make your life a living hell after that.
Well, I started to question a lot of things about you, but we wouldn't
No,
talk
no, no.
about
I
that.
love it too.
By all means, that's why we here.
I gonna make them feel it now.
Yeah, because of the pain attached to infidelity. Let me tell you, because of the pain, it is not easy to let go. Let us be honest.
That's
when
true.
you get home, when I was coming up in the car with my assistant, they was like, they about to get married, my assistant and her fiance, and they was like, if they horn me, I'm not coming to see you, you know.
Because you'll help them.
Exactly.
And she
They
want that
say-
pain. She want to
no,
go
they
through it.
don't. They're not even trying to make it work. Because remember, when infidelity happened, you could experience PISD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, or some people call it betrayal trauma. And a lot of times,
PTSD.
PTSD.
not PTSD, PISD.
Yeah, they're different.
Post-traumatic infidelity stress disorder.
Yeah.
That's something totally different.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah. So a lot of times people don't know that. That's why people casually live like this.
Yeah.
Because they say, oh, why you getting on? So it's just a little one you get. You won't be the first and you won't be the last. You understand? But most times you have people, they are now triggered by the smell of the perfume on you when you was horning me, by the garage, by...
To this day, I still can't listen to Cattle Rumping Shop, to be honest with you.
And you should listen to it.
you wait till
because
you walk in and I rump up.
No.
Okay. I just wanted to make
Well, I guess so. Nobody. That was the song that was playing now.
Okay.
That was the song that was
and
playing.
you should listen to it. That's how you start the healing process.
Wow.
Listen
Because
to
I know
Cattle.
he...
Doc, you're revealing information here. So.
But he is who reveal himself.
No,
I
he
didn't.
said-
He said it.
This is amazing.
Yeah, you should. You should.
To this day.
Yeah. Otherwise, you are allowing that song to have power over you.
Tall boss, pull up at the ramping shop and he doesn't speak up for me now. Those are the cry, I don't know. If you play ramping shop, it's not the cry.
No, I wouldn't cry.
Yeah,
It's just is the visual. No, so you ever see? Thank God, me and she wasn't that serious. What is it?
Right,
And the time I was
right.
like, Jesus Christ.
So I don't share with them what happened.
No, basically, it was like, hey, you in this event?
Ah, Okay, it wasn't a party.
No, it was.
I thought it's a bedroom you're walking in and you hear
No,
a shop playing, and I was like, oh God, when did
Yeah, I think that's
Nah, but no. I mean, that happened, but like, that's like what?
yeah.
I mean, it's not. Yeah, that's our next story. Anyway, it's not like that. Anyway, it was Yui, like 10
Yeah.
years ago, like 10 years. I mean, I could listen to the song. I just have not listened to the song. I don't think so. Nah, as I say, every other cartel. But when I saw come, I just be like, hey, this
Yeah.
you go in
Okay,
this, you go in this party. I was like, nah, I'm not going that. That's back when we, we had a little play, or whatever. It was on one of them.
Okay.
It was with a friend of ours.
Don't let them see you triggered though.
To a friend of ours.
I know you just said.
No, but me and the guy get cool after. So me and them were talking. He's like, "Your mad, I would never do that." I say, "Bro, with my own eyes, I saw this." He's like,
Right.
"You did see this? Shucks."
Ow.
And it was the rumping shop there. And I was like, "Yep." I look my cartel boy, and then this guy's like, "Girl, you want for me? Move out
Move out
of
of it.
Move out for the world."
Wow.
And then
Yeah.
So you're good now.
Yeah, no.
You're good now.
all it is, I'm a Trinidad contestant.
Is that what?
Miss Trinidad contestant. Miss Trinidad. I mean, he was a soca artist thing. When I used to battle at high level, I was
When he makes you soca with the dance or
when I was no.
Chinese now.
No.
Okay.
Oh no. It's we partner brother house, you know the guy.
I just wanted to know if you're going to take China from me love doctor to come and divulge information.
No, but me and he talk.
Cool.
Yeah, she don't talk at all.
Yeah. Again, so it's real difficult, as
Yeah.
you say, to leave, to build back, to rebuild, to start over,
Yeah.
right? And more than likely, I don't know if it's common sense to stop and say, it happened once, it's going to happen again, because you hear people saying, once a cheater, always a cheater. Leopard don't change the spots.
It depends.
What?
Right.
Because, as I said, there are different types of infidelity. So we have emotional infidelity, which is one of the worst types, where we are just communicating. Now, let me tell you, as long as secrecy is happening,
Emotional horny counts as well.
Doc,
You hear that?
woman, right?
yeah,
And I want to be so clear.
That's my friend.
Anytime I see men on shit, I will call them all the same way, right?
right,
So if it's a human thing.
Yeah.
If it's that type of person, I'll call you out. Right?
right,
When you try to skirt and avoid the accountability in a situation,
yeah,
that is when I will call you out, right?
right,
So to the people who will say exactly what you was now talking about,
yeah,
that's a basic way of them running away from the accountability.
yeah. Of course, it is.
Yeah?
As long as secrecy is happening, no matter what it is,
Yeah.
even if you're leaving home and you're telling your wife, if she's always arguing about you being on the basketball or the football field and you are hiding to go to play it, that's infidelity.
What?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor.
Yes.
I think I've had enough.
Anytime
enough.
secrecy is happening,
100%.
that is considered
Okay,
infidelity.
Is this one? Because I realize what girls doing now is withholding sex from their partner.
Yeah.
And then when the partner watch porn instead, is like, you know what? I can just go on Pornhub. What they will do is, you can't do that either. So you gotta suffer because I'm trying to make you suffer, basically.
Yeah.
I don't think the reverse is happening with fellas.
Why you can't go on board?
Because it's like, I'm supposed to be your only access to sexual activity.
right.
And if you do it by yourself, that basically means you have not learned what I'm trying to teach you.
Right.
And so no porn. So if
Right.
no porn, you just have to not have sex and
Right.
take that.
But why is she withholding sex though?
A good one. Oh no, just to be petty.
But then but that still doesn't answer the question because I could be petty, but why am I petty?
A lack of attractiveness for once. I have heard women say that they're with men that they're not attracted to.
Right.
And that lack of attraction will lead them to disrespect the men in certain type of ways.
Right.
Based on, like, they would be like,
Yeah.
a random man approach a woman in the street, she might slap him in his face. Unless it's a man she attracted to.
Yeah.
That's the kind of,
She would
Yeah.
spit him if he was on fire. If she was on fire.
yeah, right? And
I feel so sorry for, I was so happy I was born a woman because
Really?
because I feel like,
Make it easier.
men always have to deal with so much rejection.
well,
Oh, God.
But sometimes they jump out themselves too. And this is off the record. I'm talking to you not as a love doctor, but as a regular woman now.
okay.
sometimes
I see
they jump out of this themselves. You know very well, you know yourself, you look at yourself, you know, you will look at a woman at a particular caliber, and now they will come for me.
Yeah.
And you will jump out yourself and try to make a move. Of course, you get
your power
rejected.
level not that high, bro.
Yeah, I
You
agree
look
with you.
not that
That's
high,
it, the
bro.
man is be batting out of the crease.
Yeah, exactly.
You
son.
run out the crease, and if the cock well gone whoosh.
Yeah.
You
And
even
they
look
get
when
it in
he
your
go-
face.
You almost get
Yeah.
knocked out. You're right.
Yeah.
No, but then at the same time, then you see the guy she end up with and 10 times understand the guy.
True.
So then, is it a looks thing?
For men, it is, I know for sure. But for women, of course, you know,
Is
we're
that-
not visual,
Right.
according to science.
It
But it plays a role.
It have men who's,
Yeah.
it have them kind of men who's be looking like sin.
Yeah.
And like, you see them with, in know what video,
Trailer
in know
look.
what video come out recently with dancehall artists.
Oh,
with the-
Byron Messiah.
Hey, bro,
Yeah, because money talks.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
always
So no, but
obvious.
then I was just like,
Yeah.
you cannot put
And
the
you
fat
know
men
she
there.
wasn't doing that for
No, it does not.
no
Look,
speed.
it looked like love. The only part I was
She's a great actor.
Yeah.
I'll give her that.
you know, I know she was acting, right?
Yeah, actress.
Because based on the rhythm
Yeah.
and the rhythm of hormone, it was off.
cadence, the cadence.
The cadence. I was like, so yeah, I not ship it out.
Yeah.
I didn't born yesterday.
But he's a singer. He's supposed to know
he's
cadence.
supposed to know.
Something come
She
down,
was doing
man.
now a quarter beat. And he was
Gosh.
he was doing triplets.
Yeah.
But what were you saying? Right. So
Missing the attraction thing.
The
So
attraction
he's talking
thing.
about
Yeah.
the whole why she would do something like that.
okay, a girl would say, a female would say, hey, you saw the classic song. She wanted a pretty boy fella, and she ended up with a real Congo Bongo. That's actual cases. It was like, nah, I like rich fellas. And then the fella she ended up with is like, he don't even have $2 now to rub together. Or girls will come out now and say, nah, we're not dealing with no dusties. Because that was the talk now. They don't want dusties. But these are the same girls that would breed for the fellas that are beneath the dust.
But do you think they're really going to breed for them?
Because these fellas can't afford a condom, so
Well, that
they can't afford a condom.
Go ahead,
Quite
now.
close
Go ahead.
for you,
Yeah,
well
watch
done.
my Go ahead. Shoot out.
Yeah.
No, but hey, 3 or 4 baby daddies and care for our baby mothers and still don't wear out. So
Yeah.
I mean,
not me. Not me.
I just
not
saying,
me.
no.
But remember too, you have to
I
think
get you.
about culture does play a part in the decisions people make, environments we come
Yeah.
from. All those things play a role. So sometimes you may look at somebody and judge and say, but how she could do, how she could have 3. But sometimes people are living in survival mode. This is not me making excuses.
Survival mode.
Yeah. But sometimes those are real things that happen.
And
So I'm going to be devil's advocate here, right?
that is the one.
Okay, go through. You go through first. You go
That's the
through.
one.
Go through.
What would you call the trigger then? If like the only reason that the person the male horns is like is a girl clearly you would have never be able to get like me and a chick together and then Beyonce is like her looks swollen. You gotta understand that's Beyonce.
Yeah.
I never gonna get out. Or like that kind of horning. Like
Yeah.
fantasy horning.
Yeah, fantasy is, that's a type of
No.
infidelity too.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that more accepted?
No, it's not.
It's infidelity. Infidelity is infidelity. right?
Anybody is like, no
like,
matter
eh,
what.
no, like with fellas, it might be a little bit weird because like I don't even care if it's 3 songs.
Right.
But I talking about in scenarios where I don't go back in movies. You ever saw Eyes Wide Shut?
No, and I love movies. Where are you watching movies?
You've never seen Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman, Eyes Wide Shut. Okay, the whole show is legitimately about infidelity in terms of he was
Okay.
a wealthy doctor. Nicole Kidman
Right.
was Nicole Kidman. And then in one of them soirees that is go to
Right.
upper society, she was like, she's saying, oh, so you're talking to our next girl trying to have sex or whatever.
Right.
And then he's saying, nah, that's not like that. I'm so lucky because it's not like women is feel the same story.
Right.
So this is what she told him. And that's what basically put him on the journey for the entire movie. Watch this movie before you die.
Okay.
She was like, when we were married, when I loved you the most in our entire relationship, they were smoking weed. So they was like, well, at a time, we went to a hotel and I saw a soldier. Didn't know his name, didn't know wherever. And from that moment, I knew if that man had come and talked to me, I was going to leave you and the check like that. And the man just never breaks on her. So then he started going in his mind. He started visualizing soldier fondling and stuff. He ended up going into like a deep abyss.
Rabbit hole.
Yeah, he ended up going into some kind of Illuminati party.
Right.
And the point was fantasy.
Right.
You never see that movie. This was like the ultimate adultery movie. Next to Titanic. You don't know that movie?
No.
Jeez.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, right?
Yeah. I would have to watch it.
Yeah. We in our society now where there's a commonplace thing. Honing is our thing, right?
Yeah.
Because the statistics out,
Yeah.
plenty men getting jacket. By saying jacket, I mean plenty men minding China is not their own.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Plenty women finding out their husband not China outside, and it's basically like a do for do.
Yeah,
right?
that's like the page on Facebook.
Yeah, that
Do
the,
for do?
no, is this your
Is this your man? Yeah.
Right? That-
Hey, I see one or two people. I was like, geez, will I finally get catch?
Right. You know,
Could have
so
gone away with it if it wasn't for Scooby Doo. Continue.
right. So the issue I have with that now, I have a real problem with having an idea of the problem and nobody use any common sense way to solve it.
Okay.
Right? And I am not the authority on what the common sense way is.
Right.
That's where the experts is coming.
Yes.
All right. So the conversation is really to enlighten people as to you're already in a relationship with somebody, and the problem or the issue is this person has already been unfaithful,
Right.
right? And how you as a both gender, as a person, because I guess your therapy is for people, not just a man or just a woman.
Yeah.
Right. It's a psychological thing.
Yes.
The fallout from it, the trauma from it, trauma doesn't just go anywhere.
No.
Right? So your advice to them is to lean into the trauma and
Yes.
accept the pain
Yes.
and make it turn into something that could empower you. All right?
Correct.
This is where it gets a little bit sketchy
Right.
because
Tell me.
there are a lot of insane people already.
Yeah.
Right? And just like the Bible does be interpreted in so many different ways, your message, your virtuous message, could be considered in certain ways. Somebody could take it the wrong way. And a man might say, well, you see, the love doctor say, I didn't want because it wasn't your problem, so I gonna continue to want. Right?
Right.
You trigger me into horning.
Yeah, and when I come home and you do this, I'm going back on one because the love doctor said so.
Right.
And the enforcement of our accountability on both sides, that is where I think I have a bone to pick with the professionals.
Right.
Where when they come to you, I find you should tell them you're on shit. Right? But you can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't understand why you can't because you really have a point you're driving home here that it really helps. The acceptance of the trauma helps.
You have
Do
to.
people?
It's like bathing in cold water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true enough for me, and I'm never gonna do it.
Whoa.
I'm never gonna be in cold water. It's okay. I don't go on hikes. I don't go in the wilderness. That's dead. We live in civilization.
Well, true. I can't fight you with that.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is, has anybody actually stopped honing after the
Yes.
therapy? But it's like, I don't have to hone you anymore. You don't.
I have dealt with over 2,000 couples.
Mention that, Tobago.
No.
International.
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 Wait.
Hey, listen to this.
But
Yeah.
I see some of the well-known influencers in my office though.
Yeah.
So I can tell you they portray this happily ever after on Instagram
They
and
flexing.
Facebook and TikTok. But
I knew it. I always knew it.
And when you say well-known influencers, right? I know you're talking about both internationally and locally.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can't call names.
I know you wouldn't be able to call
can't call
names, of course. Yeah.
Definitely.
You know, we could try to make a call and make a
Yeah.
call.
Don't worry. Well, that's what we had the water for the water board.
Beetroot juice. Whoa.
No, the
That's-
water board. Water board.
I have no idea what you're talking about, though.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
What's that?
Water board.
I don't know.
Chinese water
I don't
culture.
know. I still wouldn't know. Yeah.
But good for you.
Yeah, but again,
Yeah.
where the professionals, how you just deal with that? As a professional, somebody come in the office and she say, I horn him, or he say, I horn her because of some vacuous reason, right?
But that's not how it goes though. I don't ever see them together at first.
Ah.
Because people lie when they are together.
I know
Because
that.
I
Oh,
can't.
God.
Yeah, because I can't say the truth in front of you.
Yeah.
So I
yeah.
see my very first session and assessment, I would see you all separately.
I realize a man will quicker take torture.
Yeah, not to tell the truth.
That, no, that to be like, sit down and be like, well, I read just as something like where it was last week Friday. You
Me?
had a tiny
Friday?
beat you in her butt.
Yeah.
And he still, I was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's because there is no maturity in the relationship. So, like, this is for me. It took time and work, but no matter what my spouse do, I know. And this is not that he's just running telling me things. Is we have developed a relationship from the onset of no matter how bad it is, we will deal with it.
Look, I get up in that scene already, you know.
Yeah,
To
that
be honest
accountability
with you,
thing is put up.
You see that whole...
That transparency.
You see
thing.
that whole... be honest with me and tell me the truth.
No, there's a difference. There's a difference between be honest with me and tell me the truth and you being mature. Because what I explain to women all the time is if he's able to tell you something and you don't throw it back in his face, he will always tell you.
I see.
So you have to reach to that stage where I could share my most vulnerable moments and we still stay civil. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you have that type of relationship, you find that your relationship or your marriage grows and thrive into something phenomenal.
All right. So what role society does play in that regard? Like friends, family members who might want to classify you as a donkey or you're stupid for taking that. Or whatever.
Yeah, but they don't know that's our relationship or your family will know about that unless you tell them.
Sometimes he's here. Like a virgin of mine get a boat, right?
Oh.
And he let me know that I kind of knew and I at fault for this.
Right.
Because it was like a common consensus.
Yeah.
And nobody go and tell this man.
Yeah.
Right? Like them business. Right?
Right.
So
Is
he
it
would,
their business though? For real?
he would see the young lady with
Yeah,
X
trust me, it's
or
their
Y or
business.
Z. And men will be like, dog, you tell the man, you not go and tell the man, and everybody will get dog. I out of that. I have nothing
Yeah.
to do with that.
Because
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you tell
yeah.
them, what is do?
Yeah.
Just go and say you say. Yeah.
Right.
And then
Of course,
use
I-
now
Don't
they
see man,
go stay
brother.
together and use the enemy.
And yeah, exactly.
The man brother knew.
Wow.
And something new. Right? There was a talk in the tongue. He
Yeah.
was the last to know.
Yeah.
And I think that is what he told mash him up the most. How everybody was like knowing and feeling pity for him. So they when it actually come out, he felt like he resented everybody. And that is probably where to this day he never bounced back. You know?
Yeah.
That is what I was talking about.
Yeah, that's
He learned
so
last.
he's experiencing some sort of trauma. So he needs help. So he's crying out. But nobody's answering.
No one answered the call.
How I can help you by dog by I can't tell him. No, I know you.
Yeah, he's crying out. I mean, because as I told you, it is trauma. It is not. It's not something that has happened to well, it has happened to people every day. But it is trauma. It's something that you need to work through.
Okay, but let me see. Women in
Everybody
charge-
already know.
Right now,
but
women
in
in
this
charge.
day and age, though, I mean, as long as you're getting one in this day and age, it's for me, it's easier to find out.
Right.
Back in the days, there were no cell phones
I
and
miss
no
those
social
days.
media.
I miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss it.
Yeah.
But now with so many social media
Look the
platforms.
people, look
and
she there with the people,
phones,
man.
Yeah.
Remember how that person introduced the next person to? They were like outside with the people, man.
Yeah. Oh shit.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
So,
Pause.
I don't understand how we didn't know, though.
Yeah, boy. That's traumatizing.
I was traumatized. But have you ever seen? Oh, you know how to ask our next movie. Have you ever seen the movie Old School?
No.
Because every single thing I'm referencing for you is like a therapy scene or adultery scene or whatever. So you legit never see this movie. Is that 2 minutes? Huh?
No, take it up.
Play it.
That's what's the man named Will Ferrell?
Will Ferrell. Come on, play. God damn it.
Yeah, so well, I'll do it up.
Yeah.
Here we go.
That's what men think therapy is.
Frank, this is a safe place. A place where we can feel free sharing our feelings. Think of my office as a nest, a tree of trust and
All
understanding.
right.
We can say anything.
It's okay, honey. That's why we came.
Well, I guess deep down I'm feeling a little confused. I mean, suddenly you get married and you're supposed to be this entirely different guy, and I don't feel different. I mean, take yesterday for example. We were out at the Olive Garden for dinner, which was lovely, and I had to look over at a certain point during the meal and see a waitress taking her order, and I found myself wondering what color her underpants might be. Her panties. Odds are they're probably basic white cotton underpants. But I started thinking, well, maybe there's silk pants. Maybe it's a thong. Maybe it's something.
So you see the obvious discomfort in this man.
She had a filing for divorce.
Yeah. You know, and that honesty, that was hilarious.
No,
man, because
how you do it?
it really, I'm talking to somebody who's been to couples therapy before, right, in the past.
Right.
It comes across as a whole system designed to help the more emotional person. I say emotional in air quotes in that regard, because many emotional same way, we just deal with it differently. But the one who is more outwardly emotional about it, I think that the types of therapy that exist for couples cannot tailor to the person who is in distress, as opposed to the person who is being considered to be a key aggressor.
It feels like it just getting you put in a wild tiger in a cage in a corner.
Yeah, so you bring the animal to train. That's what it's come across as.
Right.
And there's no meshing of what masculinity is in that type of therapy, because this is my only pushback as a man. And I know this is not from a professional point of view. I'm just talking as a human being.
Okay.
As a man, we kind of tend to need to do things to get it out. In terms of sitting and talking about it is fine. But the ultimate, the be-all, end-all of things is that as a man, you're going to have to fight the wolves. You have to fight the lion to get the meat. You have to bring home the bacon. It's something that's been conditioned in you all along.
Right.
So in a situation like that, there's nobody to turn to. There's absolutely zero people who could actually say, all right, come under my fold and let me help you heal.
Right.
Because it doesn't work that way for us. So we need to go out there and do the physical hard work to really become better. To really be that man who is demanding that type of respect from a woman and the whole 9 yards. And the therapy does not just start with us as men. Right?
Or does it?
It does. I go to ask you, who was your therapist? Because remember, we have therapy and we have counseling, which is two different things.
Maybe that was counseling, my bad.
Yeah, so it depends on what type of help you went.
Yeah.
What type of help you seek, and what was the initial. That's why I told you at the beginning, I don't step out of my lane. Because sometimes when you try to go here, do this, do that, you find that everybody feel like they didn't get the help they came for. That is why you always start with people separately.
Oh, yeah. I didn't really want to go in the first place because
You
it
see
wasn't.
what I mean?
Yeah, I was like, why are you doing this for? There's not.
And I always start with the men.
You having a problem? I not having a problem.
The worst advice is advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always start with the men, and most times the men would continue and their wives would drop off.
Yeah, because once it starts making sense as a man, I think we can stick to that code. But again, I'm being a little bit unfair to women in this regard. And I need to take a step back and look at it from the whole. All they both get in a relationship where from the get-go, the premise was this 50-50. Right? I'm talking about people who end up in that scenario.
Right. Yeah.
You're getting the scenario and it was 50-50. There were certain things you met this woman doing, certain things you met this man doing.
Right.
You try your best to change it. You try your best to pretend. And you are just on your own.
You had the manager, so to speak.
Yeah.
The manager was there, not the agent,
Not the real
Right.
not the
player.
client.
Right.
And you create this facade of fakery.
Right.
And then
buy roses,
when it's
you know,
time
I
to come
think.
off, that is where you need to be honest and say, I never wanted this in the first place.
Well, I would even add to that and say that majority of the people, well, are like now with social media or whatever, start the relationships based on being outside food, or like it was a jam. I mean, we never intended to be a relationship, but you got pregnant, or
That's
I realized you have money. It was a food.
Yeah. And that's again talking to sexual liberation, talking to who really is the one going and steer the ship to that port.
Promised land.
Yeah. And I think society does change. I know we cannot put everybody in a box and say, hey, you be monogamous and faithful till you die. But my question to you is, in your capacity, is monogamy versus polygamy a real issue in terms of, is there a benefit to either, or is one completely detrimental versus the other one being
I think that's a personal decision. Whichever direction you decide to go is a personal decision that you have to make with your spouse.
And you've seen polygamy work. You've seen it.
I've seen it work. Not locally though.
Well, obviously, not
Because
locally.
it's drama
It's
locally.
Neanderthals down here.
Yeah.
It's an orgy locally.
Yeah, but internationally, I've seen it worked. People are comfortable with that.
Interesting, because
Yeah.
there's always that connotation that women and men, I'm not trying to share my goods, right?
Yeah.
And I think the same goes for women.
Yeah.
It's a different metric again, because a man, I would like to say a healthy man nowadays, right? Once he healthy, could basically be vigorous enough to deal with all these women, right?
What I'm realizing is even not just in our marriage, but also in our, people go into those places that ill repute. Even the women themselves, they want to have, they want to remain whores, like actual prostitutes.
Yeah.
And no, you're not allowed to. What are you talking to that next girl for? Whatever.
Yeah.
And like they starting fight, like
Yeah.
mass fighting. And I like,
Territorial.
but Miguel, you are a whore. What's
Wow.
going on with you?
Yeah.
So-
I've seen this live.
Yeah.
Territorial ladies of the night.
It is not. Don't go and buy gyros. I had to start buying gyros in one of the places.
that place?
Yeah, by that place. Because you just see all the fallout from what going on in our next place.
Wow.
Okay, so you talked about your introduction to infidelity, grandparents, parents, uncles, aunts, everybody, right?
Yeah.
I thought I share a similar experience, but
Right.
the turning it around now and looking at it from the point of view that your parents didn't really know what they were doing. And it's sort of like a feral thing. It's more like a natural response that we don't really check and control the impulse to go that direction. The society trying to hold up a facade of this is my wife, this is my husband.
I'm a decent human
I'm a
being.
decent
And
human
you're a
being.
decent human being. And yeah.
Yeah, we good, right? But in truth and in fact, there's so much that we ignore as
I,
people.
I might just be a man child. You might just be
Yeah.
a abused girl. And we just trying to keep up this facade of, no, I'm not a sociopath. You are cool as well. And
Yeah.
that's what going on.
So,
Yeah.
so what role you see in our elders, right? What role did our elders play in creating this ecosystem that we have right now?
It's petri dish.
Yeah. Well,
But I feel like our elders, they did a poor job.
Thank you.
Because if you look at long ago, in communities, you still have cousins who you're wondering if he's your brother or sister or if you're related because grandpa slept with about 5 of the ladies in the village or community. So to me, back in the day, it was even worse. It's just we have social media now.
so it's harder to do it.
You could kind of put up somebody and say, mind, take care of your child. He's a bad father. And that kind of.
I don't mind the horning, it's just there's always the child in the
Yeah.
Is the child is the
Unfortunately.
issue was always the issue for me.
Yeah.
Where it's like, regardless of what happened, it's still an innocent person. Didn't ask to be here. Them getting affected. Them getting
And they will always be affected once that.
Always. Yeah.
Regardless of how open the couple is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that open relationship thing is something that we had to reach to too as well.
Yeah.
When we talking about open relationships,
How you feel about that?
oh, that make no damn sense, right? To me.
well, we see what going. I didn't say anything for the
No.
Claudio was supposed to pull up all of this.
Oh, gosh.
They make
But
no damn sense to me,
Recently,
right?
there was
Go ahead.
two homicides.
From crimes of passion.
Crimes up. No, well, I don't know what. There's two. One was a what always call it pageant winner, two Indian girls.
Right.
Gosh,
That kind of,
right,
and it was
right.
just like apparently this was a whole sex ring going on, and who know and whatever.
Right.
That's what you mean by open.
Right.
Where it's like you shared.
Like you reach
Yeah,
home and you don't know this guy and it's a cuisine and that's nonsense, right? And it's same thing for the woman. Like I know for a fact that people just want polygamy until they have to actually live it in a society that's limited.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then you're gonna realize, wait now, I can't have sex the way I wanted to have sex. I
Yeah.
can't have these women agree on that one house. I had to do more. I had to always be chasing everybody ideals. And it's be a place of pressure. So
Yeah.
be careful what you wish for.
You
Right?
just might get it.
Because you just might get it all.
Just
Yeah.
might get it.
Yeah, because it's a ticklish topic,
Yeah, it is.
right? Because this is something that everybody talking about from since the inception. And bringing this conversation to the light where you are a woman in society. Sometimes you say things that women might not agree to in their rambles.
Of
right?
course.
But
We joke there with that.
no, it's based on a lot of mental gymnastics.
Yeah.
Right? But the pushback you're getting from women, what would you consider? Is there any pushback, if any?
I mean, my methods, I would say they are extreme. So a lot of times, I would choose what I say, especially when I do podcasts and stuff, because you have to be in the room to experience it. If it's like when I told you infidelity is not the root cause, is we focus on infidelity. That's why the relationship, we didn't allow it to be rekindled. Because all you focusing on is you were dishonest, you horn me, you shame me, my parents is talking. That's all you're focusing on. As opposed to, it's not why did you horn me? Because that's the first thing when couples come in. That's the first thing they start with. Why you horn me? And I always say, you're setting yourself up for a lie. Because I am going to just tell you what you want to hear.
Okay, let's see how this will go. Okay, why did you want me? And then they will be like,
Yeah, it wasn't
Because
cooking.
the
I didn't like how this look. I get too fat. All kind
Some
of
reason or the other.
could it just be, I really just wanted to bull that next person?
But then it would make it look like an impulsive, immature person.
Exactly.
I'm an impulsive, immature person. You knew this.
I think only people with some sort of mental disorder would be okay to tell some next human being, yeah, I just want to do it because I feel like doing that.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
that's the truth, though. That might be
Right.
the truth in the circumstance. So they're not allowed to.
Yeah, but you had to know what tone is. You had to understand the complexion of the situation.
Yeah.
You know,
So
just
that's the
come
very last thing I asked you to do. To peel back the curtains. And that is why, because by the time we go through the entire process and we reach to that, you're ready. Yeah.
Okay. So your journey is to help men and women stop being cheaters.
No.
Okay. Yes.
I can't help anybody to stop. Remember,
Right.
infidelity is a choice.
Right.
It's a decision. But I can educate you so that you can identify the root of why you're doing what you're doing.
Okay. But how much of it does lead to divorce?
It depends again on the individuals.
Not
Some
even
people
right
just
now,
naturally just
after the
have a-
therapy and it's like, you know what? I hate this person.
Nah, I do have, most times, I'm very successful.
Jeez.
Yeah. Because again, I told you, I don't have time to waste.
Right.
You're not going to come to sit and argue with me who do what, when, how. We don't have time for that. If you're here, it's because you made an investment to heal, become whole, and make this marriage work or make this relationship work.
Because you said a lot of with maturity. But
Yeah.
I found in my amateur studies that most people aren't that mature to begin with.
Of course.
So the impulsivity, impulsiveness,
Yes. There's no
impulsiveness,
Yeah.
if you will,
Well,
sign the
Yeah.
contract anyway. The impulsiveness of people cheating is really just okay. If you have you have kids. You have observed how toddlers behave,
Yeah.
and it's like, I want a bottle.
Yeah.
Why want the bottle for? I just want the bottle. And they just doing
Yeah.
all this.
Of course.
Climb up on the thing. Watch if
Yeah.
you're watching, sneak, and it's like that person got that little tail couldn't hold
Yeah.
because they're just doing this to fulfill whatever weird need they have for the slightest thing.
Yeah.
So now take it further into our hall. Or take it further into
Nothing
I just
to
want to
do
play
with you.
football.
Yeah.
And you say it's infidelity.
Yeah.
And it's like,
But I'm not doing nothing. I just want football.
I just want football.
Yeah. But if you have to lie and tell me you're going somewhere else instead of going to play football.
Because you'll get vexed, so that's
No,
what
but then what does that say to the person who is doing the lying based on
Well, first it says you have holes in the relationship. Remember,
Yeah.
you're individual, the other person is an individual, and the relationship is
Exactly.
one unit by itself. So you're not judging something is wrong with us, something is wrong with the relationship. And we, on the other hand, we have some work to do. So most times you look at it as, oh my God, you're the worst, this and that. But you're not looking at, okay, what is wrong with the relationship? What is the foundation of the relationship? So when you deal with that, everything else flows.
so inevitably some people just not supposed to be together.
Yes, and that is correct. Because
I think we can
we would say they're not compatible.
right.
Some may say
She's
that.
a Taurus, she's a Pisces. I don't know if that's
Well, it depends again
Yeah.
on You know, if
It's a
you're into
personal
that
thing.
whole.
I don't know if that astrology is actual
Yeah.
thing as work or no.
Well, I do believe in it, but I mean, there are people who.
She's a realistic person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she tried to say no. Yeah, she had to be.
Yeah.
She,
Politically
he's crazy. He's gonna come and be like, well, yeah,
I read my tarot.
my tarot card said in the third moon of Jupiter, me and you can't be together.
Yeah.
So the double standards, we address that. We address all the traditional rules. The people from the past make
Yeah.
us reach to this point. All right, we cannot suggest how to change it in the future because that's a personal choice.
It's personal.
My thing is because you're doing a lot of, I must say, this is intense work. This is
It is.
unheralded work. This is work that people will not. Some people definitely gonna walk in next direction to that
Of course.
because it requires truth.
And it's only right.
So, go ahead.
So, would you say in more developed countries, because you're working out like a first world country, I'm
Yeah.
not going to call the place whatever, but you're working out a first world country, would you say that countries with higher IQs, general average IQs, that they're more willing to sit down or a little bit more mature to sit down and discuss, is he saying, me and you need work, as opposed to,
Well, to be quite honest, a hone is a hone no matter what country you're from. However, you find because we aren't exposed so much to therapy and what it means, we think that therapy is for mad people, it's for people who want to waste their time to tell strangers the business, and we don't understand the concept. Because we're third world, you find it's a struggle. But those in the first world countries understand what it can do for them.
Because some people will say that's white people think. That's why people think.
Exactly.
Bro, I from the hood. I ain't know about
Yeah.
talking. But now I realize because of the advent of, I don't know, like social media.
Yes.
You see it on TV now.
Yes. So it's, yeah.
Like, it's like, okay, oh God, I want to do my fourth try to see if she see the show. You ever see the show called The Sopranos?
No.
Jesus
You must know the
Christ.
Sopranos, man, dog. Tony Soprano,
The whole point
Italian
of the
mafia.
the whole point of the show is him
Cosa
seeing a
Nostra.
therapist.
Well, I love TV, but I don't really have all the time in the world.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I don't really
So
watch
she
TV
just
to
back
us.
and slap me with that one. Yeah, idol.
That's my
Pow!
No, that's his profession.
Yeah, idol. Pow.
Oh,
That's
that's,
professional.
why.
Nah, don't
Yeah.
let him sweeten it.
He went to school for that. That's what he's
Sweet
doing.
metal.
So
Oh.
yeah, so
okay.
that's
It now makes sense because
Yeah.
I mean I'm like, wow, wait.
yeah, but he's really watching TV. Right?
You know what? No, well, most of the movies I see when I was in college, so I was like,
How's that?
Remember, I grew up poor, so take that into consideration.
we
So
had
when-
gate. We had gate. We had
Yeah,
gate.
we had it.
We had gate. The gate was before your time. Gate was before your time.
All right.
Free.
So where you see like the what's called that the trends that happen on TikTok and things now, like the puppy balloon, and where you see that leading us into the future, because this is commonly the Gen Z population now who doing
Yeah.
that. That's the younger generation who gonna be parents now.
And I don't think they believe in I don't think they believe in relationships. And
I don't know what they believe in.
They just no, they're pushing towards polyamory. I'm seeing
Yes.
polyamory is the thing now, and is about do whatever you feel is impulsivity. That's they do not understand about holding something what has value and having value. It's like whatever, that bottle. That was important to you. Is not important to me.
Yeah.
Marriage is important to my parents. It's not important to me.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so that is a tear down on the moral fabric.
Well, I don't start to track the boy for my daughter already. I'm sorry. Because I
You're
spent a
arranging
lot
that
of time. She's 12.
Right.
Hey.
But I got 3 letters already for her. Yes, since she was about 8. And I am
Arranged marriage?
No, it wouldn't be definitely not. I wouldn't do that. But because I spent so much time teaching her about mental health and choosing the right spouse and all of that, I can't let her go down this road with what
Yeah,
TikTok
yeah,
is
yeah.
teaching you. So I'm very sorry. I'm going to introduce her to those guys.
Yeah.
And I mean, she make a decision. If she don't like any of them, then
You
we'll go
lead the
again
horse to
from
the water.
scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say this, right? That in more Eastern cultures, like because you out of Canada, I actually call the place. I have a friend out there, and she says most of our female friends they're from Asian countries, so China,
Right. Yeah.
Singapore, whatever.
Yeah.
These girls are around our age or 26,
Yeah.
whatever. Don't speak to men. Period. In terms of
Yeah.
this is work related. They
Yeah.
have no male friends. This
Yeah.
mixture, the genders, whatever. And they are waiting for their parents to literally do what you just said there. And if they like the guy, cool.
That's the culture.
And yeah, culturally, and it seems to work for them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But in our first world country, I don't know. It probably works in China. Because they're trying to keep the birth rate down or whatever. But
I mean, they will come for me on social media, but I mean, that's just by choice. I am not allowing her to, have to experience
The dating,
Yeah,
the
no,
sexual
horn
dating. Yeah.
after horn. Nah.
Okay, so suppose one of these young men
Yeah,
is people,
of course.
right? But chances are that he doesn't necessarily have the attributes to be that serial philanderer or
Right.
real philanderer.
yeah, like that one. Right? Would you advise your daughter to work it out, or that's her choice at the end of the day, as what you've been saying?
At the end of the day, it's her choice.
Right.
However, I would still guide her.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, lucky your daughter.
What I-
Because there are a lot of mothers who,
Wait, leave you, right?
yeah, he's a no good. But then they didn't do the prep work. They didn't prep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
What
it
are the ones?
shouldn't reach there.
What are the ones that say, stay with him? Hey, stay with, don't matter if you beat the
Nah,
SH out there.
no. That abuse, that's a no.
Yeah.
Because we had those conversations. I mean, parents wait until it's too late and they allow the friends in school to teach their children how to live and how to operate. I'm not one of them. We have all the hard conversation.
Yeah.
We talk about sex. We talk about homosexuality. We talk about if a girl track you. We talk about everything. For
Yeah.
me, that is important. Because if you don't tell them, somebody will.
And she's experiencing it, and you need to know.
Yeah.
I get that. Completely 100% get that. But again,
Yeah.
we will always like the world to be a certain type of way, but we're not in control.
No.
So that I've seen such destruction take place, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe we are approaching it from the point of view that you have a piece of equipment, and you could approach the equipment from the front or behind.
Right.
And the front is the dangerous part.
Right.
But because it's such a complex piece of equipment, you've seen it for the 100 times still to understand where the dangers lie. So
Right.
we just blindly walk into the piece of equipment and get shattered. And nobody really understands what the vehicle of matrimony or love is really about. I don't want to say love, because love is still a chemical response to some extent.
Yeah.
Right? But matrimony is, to me, when in society was more about
pair bonding. Could we just say pair bonding instead of matrimony?
all right, okay, if you want to use pair bonding, because it's still
Pair
leading
bonding.
to that.
Yeah.
Pair bonding.
Right.
All right. That was when in society was hard, when
Right.
people needed to be together. Right?
Right.
So my argument or my hypothesis, if you want to call it that, what I'm saying is really the case is that because the world has gotten more economically aggressive, meaning that people are on the pursuit of things and materialism, and is more about that piece of plastic than what your wife feeling in her heart. That's where people started to go their own way.
Yeah.
So in a society where men and women go in their own ways, right? Where you see in your profession bringing them back together? Because what I'm getting at is you're fighting against a tide.
Yeah.
And really actually where we going to go from here? Because I come to you as the expert and saying, we need your help. What we going to do? Space Jam for the movie Fanatics, right?
You know Space Jam?
I've heard about it.
Nah, well, you don't watch movies. It's
not-
official. It's official.
This is the original of Love
It's
After Love.
official. She
From
doesn't. It's in Space Jam.
Right?
Not
But
the new one. The old one.
so-
Michael Jordan.
asking for your help in that regard, as in terms of how your profession going and tell the change in narrative.
Have you ever seen Nanny McPhee?
Oh God.
Like the woman with the big mole?
No. Well, yeah. And she have the. No, I think more Mary Poppins.
No.
I don't know who Nanny McPhee.
The movie.
Yeah.
So it's only when the children don't want her, she comes.
But
It's not
this is
when
one
they
of
want
them
her?
little house on the Perry kind of thing.
no, and
No,
she
that's so
actually-
far. Oh gosh, I
and
mean, how
she's
old?
Like Dr. Queen Medicine Woman.
No, the man Nanny McPhee kind of old. That's an old one. That's like Wizard of Oz kind
She's the
of
one
old.
Yeah.
who's floating around the umbrella.
That's Mary
No,
Poppins.
she has a stick.
Okay.
But good, y'all don't know one.
No, I mean,
I know Nanny
I mean, if
McPhee.
it used to show on TTT, then we will really
No,
I
know.
don't
no,
know.
I have it on VHS.
Channel 4 and 16 and 3 and
TTT, yes. Wow.
Scramble
That's
station.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Right, but she was a babysitter, and only when you don't want her, she comes. So when your children give in real trouble and they don't want her, she would come and put everybody in check.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when you start loving her,
That's when she's leaving.
She boss
that's
out.
when she leave. That is who I am.
Look at that. That's amazing though, by the way.
Is it?
I must say. Because she doing kind of like human service. There's nobody going to ask you for that and nobody going to thank you for it.
Yeah.
The thing I have is it that people don't want therapy because prior to that we was getting therapy from religious leaders?
Well, I wouldn't call that therapy.
You understand what I'm saying, right? I know a chick. I was a prophetess.
Oh God.
She's a prophetess. In quotation. So she communes with a entity and she says it's God. That's what in her mind.
Okay.
In her mind.
Right.
So in her mind, she communes with God and she had a daughter and she had married a guy. I know the guy. That's how I intertwined. At one point in time, I was real into reading Bible and stuff.
Okay.
So I had a conversation with the woman in question about, and I said, maybe we should, I don't know, stay out of the people marriage.
Right.
I don't know about you. But she said, no, you don't understand. And it's stop being about getting their relationship to work, but more about her pride in terms of, people I talk to, and I counsel, if they don't stay together as an embarrassment on me, I say, yeah, but what about their relationship? And she was always pushing, leave that man. And then saying, well, it's really good. But then I started to do the maths and I say, well, how come every single time you and me commune, right? It's always about your opinion. And then when I flip and show you some Bible stuff that we're supposed to have an agreement on the Bible here.
Right.
And then it's like, nah, that's back in time. I say, okay, well, this is this time. I say, okay, no, that. And what's anything to say that the woman's supposed to be submissive to the husband? She not that
This God.
at all. In terms of, because remember, okay, common theme supposed to be, if we're Christians, regardless of denomination, we at least supposed to agree that the Bible is supposed to be the thing.
Right.
The common is our book. You believe certain
Right.
things, but then when I come down to the male-female dynamic, no. And I realize a lot of Christians, modern day Christians now, who is quote-unquote therapists, because these are counsel couples, none of them trained.
Yeah.
Is come and say things like, nah, you should do XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. Or on the flip side, it could be like, sister, shut the hell up and listen to your husband. I hear that one.
Wow.
Then the next flip side is, hey, God, you could communicate with God by yourself. You don't need this man, basically. In terms of, as opposed to certain scriptures I could go through to say, well, nah, that's not what Paul was saying at all in this new church system.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand it.
So at what point do we now say, here's the seat. Science has taken over.
Right.
And we really don't need the religion part in the we actually have trained people now.
Yeah.
Yes, if you want to believe in whatever you want to believe in, cool
Right.
and dandy. But we have trained people now that have gone to school, done the studies to learn how to speak to people in matters of the heart. Well,
Right.
I can say that.
Yeah, matters of the heart.
Matters of the heart. Going and saying, now, well, this book says this. So, sister, shut the hell up. Follow that man till you die. And if all you have a fallen out, or they get separate for a time and come back together, that's romance.
Yeah.
Or on the flip side, hey, don't worry about that First Corinthians, the head of the house is the man, and above and then above he is God. Forget about that part. Right now, he not the God-fearing man he's supposed to be. So F away with he. Let me go
Right.
back to the Romans 7. Romans 7.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Could be just no. This is the church. And let me just try to have this relationship thing.
Well, no.
This
is
because you could be Christian, cool. You could be
Right.
Hindu, you could be whatever. But then we come here. Well, no, the Bible said this, and it's your fault, whatever. And then the pastor said this, and this one said this, but the therapist saying, here's the scene. Can we just put this out of the way?
you see what you're saying.
That's a hard
It
question.
depends again.
hard
It depends again because I mean, different religions believe different things. So my practice is not based on religion.
That's what I'm saying.
However, I always say everybody plays a part. So some people will go to their spiritual leader and they will decide the spiritual leader says that and that is the role they play. However, if you come to me, it have nothing to do with spirituality.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah. So I wouldn't go as far to say that the church or the the
Oh, no,
prophet.
sorry. I said the church and the religious institution. I didn't mean church as
I
in
wouldn't
things
go as far to say they messed us up.
Yeah.
But what I would say is they have their role to play. So if you believe in what you believe in, no problem. You all work out that which is spiritual leader. When you come to me, I am not going to be diving in the Bible with you and going through what you're supposed to do based on that.
First Corinthians says this. Galatians.
With me, we dealing with the trauma. With your pastor, with your prophet, you deal with the spiritual aspect of things.
You gotta say imam and you gotta
Or
say temple.
imam
Yeah.
and- or
'Cause
whoever
you're
you
not-
believe
you're not-
in.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because I would say most religions, and I know this is here.
Yeah, you know, religion is...
But most religions, I cannot name one off the top of my head that really does support the concept of, not divorce, concept of a woman being the head of the household. I'm trying to think about, because
Nah, well, I don't know any either.
so all of them was always patriarchal
Yes.
in terms of that. And that's where we get most of like laws in the countries, and countries were formed based on the religions and the
Yes.
cultural stuff. It always had a point of play where women were, and I don't want to say underneath, but were in underneath the men. Is it that cases of, I want to say, the new concept I thought where first we get psychoanalysts came in and these kind of things where we could now come and say, okay, now lady, you are your own person.
Right,
So you could have your own thoughts and feelings outside of this man.
right.
Forget about what that book say. And now I accidentally got questions at the end because I do. You can now say, well, man, you be your individual, but now the two of you need to be individuals or interdependent. So I was reading my little books and things.
Yeah.
All right.
So what can we say now that just to leave that off? Trying to say, you understand what I'm asking?
I understand what you're asking.
You're
but see,
ticklish,
that
you're
is-
ticklish, you're ticklish.
But that is not my call. though.
You can't make that judgment.
I can't. Yeah, that's really dependent on the couple. Because nobody comes to me and would ask me, so you know, my pastor said this, or my prophet, or my imam, or whoever. Nobody comes to me and say that because that's not the conversation.
Of course.
So that is a personal. When you go to your whoever your spiritual leader is, you deal with that. When you come to me, we are dealing with the trauma.
Yeah, she
the
answered it.
roots.
She said,
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
she work on the answer. She work on that, but Dr. Thunderflies.
This
Yeah.
conversation reminded me of a book I want to reference. Is The House of the Dead.
Jesus.
Right? And follow me, guys. Right? I'm not going to make it too long-winded.
Yeah.
But it's a book written by a Russian author called Dostoevsky.
Okay.
And he basically, based on the fact that he went into public and was speaking the truth to the masses, the Tsar at the point in time had arrested him and put him in a gulag. So he actually wrote this book in the gulag, The House of the Dead. And the one reference that I want to make is where he saw a dog being abused. Right? And he noticed that the dog, even though the dog was being abused, wouldn't run away from his abusers. He wouldn't cover from his abusers. He'd actually welcome his abusers when he see them. Right? So he went and he tried to do something different, where he started to rub the dog and, pet a dog. And the dog yelled in pain and started to avoid him. Right? In the concentration camp, in the gulag. And that was the basis of his book. Because the dog, as the human who is being conditioned in a certain mind frame, is afraid or somewhat apprehensive of the one who really has the best interest at heart.
Yeah.
And the TikTok and social media and religions and everything else kind of put in that narrative that is the place that you should trust in for your betterment in a relationship. So I see a fight, Doc, right? The original Love Doctor.
The original.
Because this is something this is your man service. This is something that
What the hell is human
it's
service?
something that you are doing because you believe in a purpose higher than yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? And the people who you really, as you said, really should be helping will turn away from you and be a little aggressive towards you in that regard, because I don't know what is the human condition is called that when you turn the mirror on somebody. involuntarily, and they actually see who they really are for the first time.
That is what happens when you
Okay.
get to the root of infidelity.
Yeah.
You get to see yourself,
Ah,
and that is when the pain really, really is unfolding.
the portrait of Dorian Gray. Okay, you know that one.
And you have shades of Grey, man, right?
No, what?
There's 50 Shades of
What
Grey.
a kidding me right now. That's
never-
a whole book.
Nah, I never
Oscar
read
Wilde.
What you study in school?
Yeah.
Because you had what you studied.
Film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to humanities route. It didn't make sense. You know, you should do social sciences.
But yeah.
Like
So-
natural sciences.
So I am of no disillusion that the nonsense is going to continue.
It would.
All right. I wish you all the strength and powers according to my uncles and them strength and powers
Yeah.
in your journey
Thanks,
because
eh? Yeah,
Because-
because for the grassroots.
yeah,
that
for
way.
the roots and the culture, right? So we going to try to wrap this show up now. All right. I want you to leave with your final remarks on anything you feel like speaking on. Shout out, plug your books, plug yourself, or we could find you.
Are these books on Kindle?
Yeah.
I'm
Where
not buying it, look,
was your next business venture? What you're planning to do to, bring the community together in your community together in a sense, right? There's your time to address them. We're gonna shut the hell up. You shine. All right?
Okay. Well, I just want to say thanks so much for inviting me on the show. For those who are challenged by infidelity, there is hope if you want it. Remember, most times we walk around with our wounds and our unhealed traumas, and we feel like nobody cares, or there's no one there to really assist you and take you to the next level in life. But there is hope. You can always feel free to reach out to me at any social media platform at the Love Doctor 8. That's the number 8 at the Love Doctor 8. And we could do some real work. No one is past being able to change their life. You could find any of my books on Amazon, as well as if you find me on social media, Dr. Shamile S. Bernard, you're going to see a link in my bio and you can click there too. I have my men's conference coming up.
Oh,
So, we just held the women conference in May. And every year it's always a sold out event. So this is my first men conference because, as you said, there is not a community to help men heal. So the purpose of this event is to help men heal, help them leave a legacy for their generations to come. We're going to have other therapists who's going to help men with pornography,
Damn.
masturbation,
damn.
those who are impotent.
Damn.
And some of them can't even, the women are complaining that their spouse don't last long enough. So we have somebody who's going to deal with things like that, as well as someone who has done really well for themselves, coming from London. He's going to be talking a little bit about finances, helping them build a life for their children and so forth. So you can always reach out to me and get more information on that.
Where is it going to be?
It's going to be in El Dorado.
Oh, this is in Trinidad.
Yeah, this one is in Trinidad.
Okay, good.
Nice, excellent, cool.
Yeah,
So
this one is
yeah,
in
we
Trinidad.
should be there for that as well.
Yeah, so it's going to be a really, really nice event. I always make sure that the women leave filled and healed, and as well as this time, the men, we're going to be helping them. Because, you can't heal half of the home and expect the other half to
Just
make it
fix
work.
yourself, honest.
Yes. So don't worry, I got you, man. I got you.
Say no more.
Yes.
Pops,
El
first time
Dorado,
for
East West Corridor.
Yeah,
See
yeah.
yourself there.
You see her there, right? So, Tulman, last word?
Nah, I really have nothing funny to say. No, that. It's probably the pastor's fault. Anyway,
Not me and you and that, no?
I plead the fifth. Yeah.
plead the fifth.
All right, so ladies, gentlemen, you know the truth. Do good every time, good will follow. All right, episode 53, we out.
That's all, folks.